Everything's ice. You know it's ice. It's always been ice. And how can you, you've had that high school science that says that it just, and all of a sudden you get past that little tipping point and suddenly the whole thing changes. Let me tell you, the tipping point for the global human system is about 1.2% or something. It's not a big number. It's something like, I don't know, 75,000 or, it's an amazingly small number of people who start to see the world in a different way, and suddenly the system changes. And that's been proven in lots of different kinds of ways in different people. So if you got people that see the world, show up and see the world in a different way, and then they go to work, you got a really big problem because all of the businesses and everything else are all based upon competition and the old mindset, right? So what we've got to do is build a new world. And the new world has got to be, John Kay, who wrote Innovation Nation, says, what you've got to do is you've got to be able to tell a story. You've got to be able to tell this story in a lot of ways. And what John is essentially saying is you've got to build a mental image in your mind about what this new world would look like. Because that's the essential nature of how you get from here to there. You don't build that thing until you start to see it, and a lot of people see it in lots of different kinds of ways. So this is about building a model. This is about building a new model of a new world. With an economic system works in a different way, and a government that works in a different way, and a legal system, and an educational system, and everything. I mean, that's essentially where we are at this amazing kind of transition to a new world that's going to operate in a different way. And we get to be the ones who design it, by the way. It's amazing. It's wonderful. There are some sources that said we can change everything. If you believe that idea that we might be able to get into this space to where we can manifest and change reality because of the way we think, we're unlimited in terms of what we can do. We can change. We can change all kinds of things that we don't think are possible to change at all. In one sense, people like us who are aware of this have got to be the lighthouses in the process. We've got to be the ones who start to understand this thing and shine light and illuminate the darkness that's around and be able to facilitate the process that other people can see what's going on here. And let me tell you, a lighthouse doesn't kiss it all when the weather turns bad, You don't back away and say, oh, I only signed up for sunny days. Or, no, I mean, when the weather, that's why you want a lighthouse, is when the weather is bad. And so it seems to me we have this extraordinary opportunity. We are here for a reason at this point, because we are here to help facilitate and become the new world and to become the new people and to learn about this thing. I mean, if you don't do it, if I don't do it, who in the world's going to, huh? So, we got this wonderful opportunity in the storm that's coming here to stand up and really become new people and try this and learn how to live in a whole different kind of way. This is going to be an extraordinary period of time. It may not be as bad as what some of these guys think. It may be worse than some of these guys think. All we can tell you with great assurance is that it's really big change that's coming. And we're the ones who get to change it. We need to shape it and influence the thing. And so it's going to be an exciting time, and it's going to be an interesting time. And people that are interested in sustainability like you are going to be in the forefront and trying to define the new way in which we all live. Thank you very much. Sure.
For those, we would like to, if you have questions, John, we'll take some questions now from the audience. Does anyone have comments or questions?
Yes, sir. It's a wonderful, reasonable, obvious kind of question. And I don't know. I don't know, because what we have built is an unsustainable system. And so if you're going to move it to another, and that's why I think guys like Jim Kunstler say this is going to be a lot simpler when you get out of the back end, because there's no way that the consumption is going to be able to be sustained. And that's the space for creativity and innovation as far as I'm concerned. It sounds like a cop-out and an easy way for me to get you to sit down, but it's not. There is a lot of creativity that's got to go into this. We have got to, as a group, and that's where the internet, where you can tie people together and you can try to solve problems with folks, you know, social networking and other kinds of stuff, you have the possibility of doing something, getting some really significant, big kind of solutions to these things. But it's only going to come with new, it's not going to be the same economy. It's going to be a different economy, and how you get from here to there is only because of some new ideas. Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, my name is Mike Churchill.
I'm
from
sorry.
Falls Church.
I couldn't tell.
And I had two questions. One, you know, you actually just alluded to it there. And you mentioned before this idea of supply lines. You need to get supply lines shorter. I guess I look at it and I'm like, well, why? Why do the supply lines have to break down? I'm not sure what I see there that has to happen. And I had one other question after that.
They don't have to break down, but if you've got long supply lines, if you're eating, if your lettuce that you have for your salad out here on the average comes 1,500 miles, then there's all kinds of, I've got a chart in one of my other talks, there's about 15 different things that all contribute to get that lettuce from the, and any one of those things could break down. So if you've got an economic problem where it forces people to have to do things differently than they've done before, then what you've got is lots of places in long supply lines where you can have failures. And any single failure, do you know how the UAW strikes the automobile business? You know how they do that?
Yeah, they take out one little
That's
chunk.
it. They take the one guy that the whole system, you know, if you don't have brakes or brake pads or whatever thing, you can't deliver a car no matter how the whole thing's done. And that's the problem with the supply line things. All you got to do is lose one place in the link and it doesn't work. And so there's a movement toward localization and other kinds of things to try to shorten supply lines. And that's one way to try to deal with it.
I had one other question. That is, does it matter? I'm not much of a computer or science person, but one of the thoughts that came to mind when you were talking about alternative intelligence was this idea of, maybe this is a basic question, but does it matter if or when computers become self-conscious? Does that create some kind of like tipping point there?
Oh, I don't know. It probably would when they did. You know, I have some friends in California, of course, who think about that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's a different kind of world if a computer becomes self-conscious, and most of the guys who think about it don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And I guess I don't worry about that too much yet. Yes.
What do you see the role of?
Oh, did somebody else have a? Oh, I'm sorry.
Beth Irons from Maryland. What do you see the role of religious institutions in all of this rapid change?
I think like every other institution, they have to change. And they have to see the world in a different way. And if it doesn't make any difference who you are. It doesn't make any difference if you're the Obama administration. If you think the world works inside of your box, the way you've defined it, and the world doesn't work inside of your box, then you've got a problem. And you will not be part of the solution. You'll be part of the problem. And I think that religions, by definition, have dogmas and theologies and all these things. Those are boxes. They have defined the way the world works in terms of their own box. And by the way, they all think that their box is the only box and all that. They got those kinds of problems. But if you don't start to have some tentativeness to this whole thing, suggest that it might be bigger, it might work a little different. You know, the principles in religions are wonderful as ways in which to give you direction on how to live your life and for peoples to live together. But a lot of the other manifestations are very constraining, and by the way, are not going to be. It's again, it sounds crazy, but if the aliens show up and tell you that the world really works differently than we little guys on this planet said, then, you know, the people in the boxes are going to have a hard time. And so it's a time where all of the institutions, the educational, all of the institutions are going to have to change, or it's going to be really hard. Yes, ma'am.
You talked about the tremendous growth of China